Bush School. Mother Nature welcomes you. Join us in a world that's new. Open up your eyes. Bush School. Animals in camouflage. How they breed and feed and thrive. Learn how they survive. Discover the secrets of wildlife. Discover the way to be bush-wise. Bush School.
Animals in the wild come face to face with dangers every day. Now they have developed numerous interesting and different ways to defend themselves. Today we're going to look at some of these interesting ways that animals defend themselves in the wild.
Before an animal can defend itself against danger, it must be able to sense the danger approaching. For this reason, most animals have very keen eyesight, good hearing, and an excellent sense of smell. Once they've spotted a predator, some animals will give alarm calls to warn others of danger, like these Egyptian geese scolding a crocodile. And this lory shouting what could be, "Go away, go away." This leopard's hunt is disturbed by the alarm calls of a squirrel and a group of kudu. The next line of defense for most animals is to run as fast as they can away from the danger, or by retreating into holes. To escape danger, scorpions, like the hyena and mongoose, retreat into holes in trees or in the ground. Not every scorpion makes it to a safe haven in time. Leopards escape danger by climbing into trees, where they're safe from predators like lion and hyena.
Now we've got to be very quiet. It's going to see. I've got to make sure it again. Go. This cryptically colored grasshopper, his second line of defense is what?
He's jump.
He'll jump, that's right. He'll use these back legs to propel him, and so he jumps away from any danger.
Birds go one step further. They escape danger by taking to the air. While birds find safety in the air, hippos and crocodiles are safest in the deep end. Some animals carry their best protection with them.
This is the shell of a leopard tortoise. His first line of defense is camouflage. His second is the hard protective shell. Now, it is interesting to note here, children, can you see? He was obviously attacked by a predator.
What got it?
I think a hyena. Can you see here, Boyd, the way the hyena with his powerful jaws obviously attacked the tortoise and it penetrated his armory.
But the tortoise's shell is usually enough to protect it from being eaten.
Adam, can you think of another animal that carries his home or his protection, his defense around with him?
Yes, a giant land snail. Got a shell.
That's very good, the giant land snail. See it there? And when he gets into danger, what does he do? He goes into the shell, and that is his protection.
strange-looking animal is called a pangolin. It is a type of anteater, and its wraparound scales protect it very effectively. When danger threatens, he just rolls himself up into a ball. Not even lions can penetrate his body armor. The millipede also has strong scales, which protect it when it rolls up, but it also boasts another defense. It gives off a foul-smelling substance when it's disturbed. Another animal that protects itself with chemicals is this blister beetle that gives off a poisonous substance when it's threatened. And we all know what stink bugs do when they're disturbed. Other animals have other kinds of weapons with which to protect themselves. The porcupine has long, sharp quills that are a perfect defense against predators like the leopard. This crocodile died with a quill stuck in its mouth, probably as a result of trying to eat a porcupine. There are many animals in the bush that defend themselves with horns. The Cape buffalo has large curved horns that are capable of killing a lion. But this old bull's horns have broken off, and he is now vulnerable to attack. Other animals that have horns with which to defend themselves, if necessary, include the Congoni, the male kudu, and, of course, the rhinoceros.
Okay.
Other animals with weapons are the hippo, with its large razor-sharp teeth. And the elephant with its tusks. Some animals, like this rhino, are just too large for any predator to attack successfully. For many animals, the greatest safety lies in sheer numbers. Zebra and wildebeest congregate in large herds, so that there are more eyes and ears on the lookout for danger. Another way to defend yourself is to bluff your way out of trouble. This elephant advances on the danger with his ears standing out to make himself look even bigger than he really is. The emperor moth has markings on its wings that look like large eyes. This can be enough to frighten off predators. The Mozambique spitting cobra uses bluff at first by spreading its hood and rising up to frighten the predator away. If this fails, then the snake spits a poison into the eyes of the predator.
Look at Simon. He's a spitting cobra. Now, what would be his first line of defense?
Spitting. Puffing himself bigger.
That's right, enlarging his body size to scare off a predator. And his second line of defense?
Squirt.
Will you leave us a world where no rhinos run? Will you leave us a world where no whales swim? Will you leave us a world that is scorched by the sun? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? Will you leave us a world where the forests are gone? Will you leave us a world where no rivers run? Will you leave us a world with 10 billion strong? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? You can make it a world where the rivers flow clean and wildlife runs free on an earth that is green. Let them know that you care. Be alive, be aware, in a world that together we share. This kind of world. What kind of world? Your kind of world. Our kind of world. Bush School. Mother Nature Join us in a world that's new. Open up your eyes. Bush School. Animals in camouflage. How they breed and feed and thrive. Learn how they survive. Discover the secrets of wildlife. Discover the way to be bush-wise. Bush School.
Today, we are going to be dealing with camouflage. Now, I'm going to put this jacket on, and I want you all to look at it very carefully and tell me what is different about this jacket. Anybody got any answers? Tell me, Bronwyn.
It's camouflaged.
It's a camouflage jacket, and what does the word camouflage mean? Do any of you know? Camouflage means to break up the image. Now let's take an animal as an example. Something like the leopard. Have you ever seen a leopard in the dappled sunlight? Sometimes he's very hard to see, right?
Yes.
Because he's camouflaged. He's got splotches of black on his coat, which breaks up the outline. So he is very hard to see in the dappled sunlight.
Let's look at some other animals that camouflage themselves and the reasons they do so. Firstly, there are those animals that camouflage themselves to avoid danger. These animals are marked in the same colors as their environment. You'll find moths that look like dead leaves, caterpillars that look like fern leaves, and frogs that look just like the sand they rest on.
Here we must have one of the most interesting insects, or certainly one that camouflages himself the best. Can anybody tell me what it is?
It's called a stick insect.
Can you point it out for me, Bronwyn? There it is. It's a totally helpless insect. It has no means of defense. It can't bite, so it relies totally on its camouflage.
At first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything here at all. But look more closely, and you'll spot a well-camouflaged de Koop chick sitting on its nest.
Now you see how interesting it is here, how the water de Koop lays its eggs in the surroundings that suits the shell of the egg. What did we say the water de Koop's egg was? It was?
Brown.
Yes. It was cryptically colored, right? Which means that it blends in beautifully here with the environment, with the hippo dung and with all the grass. And so it's very difficult to see, because where do water de Koop lay their eggs? Simon?
On the ground.
On the ground. So when the chick hatches, it's very, very vulnerable. He points it right up.
This green-backed heron raises its beak towards the sky so that it takes on the same shape as the vertical sticks in its environment.
See how he points his beak up?
The grey duiker escapes detection by lying very still the moment it senses danger. Keeping still plays an important part in escaping the attention of a predator for many animals. As long as it keeps quite still, this buffalo is difficult to see at all. Only when it moves does this leopard give itself away.
Now we've got to be very quiet. Let's go see. Ellen's got something for us at the dam. Go.
As Elmon and the children walk through the bush, they discover a baboon sitting quietly in the trees, perfectly camouflaged. These cheetah are hunting, totally unaware that a baboon is hiding behind a branch in a nearby tree. The vegetation covering the surface of the water provides this hippopotamus with a perfect hiding place. If this korhaan senses danger as it walks through the grass, it'll turn its back on the threat so that its brown body blends in against the grass. And why should the fur on the backs of these cheetah cubs be paler than the fur on the rest of their bodies? Perhaps it helps them merge with the grass. Some animals use camouflage not to conceal themselves from predators, but to sneak up unseen in their prey. The leopard molds its body to the shape of the termite mound. Its spots blend in perfectly with the dappled shade thrown by the bushes. Even in green grass, the leopard's camouflage is most effective. The cheetah's spotted brown markings blend in unseen against this winter landscape. Lions also merge in perfectly with the brown grass.
Let's go down to the river now and see what we can see. Come quietly now. Nobody must make a noise.
On their walk through the bush, Elmon and the children come across crocodiles lying at the water's edge. No one could be blamed for mistaking them for rocks. In fact, of course, they're lying in wait for unsuspecting prey. Is this a croc? No, it's a rock.
Look carefully. See how beautifully he camouflages himself. He's taken on, firstly, the form of that log. Secondly, the color of the log. See how beautifully he blends in with that whole little environment there?
If you follow this stick all the way to its end, you could get a nasty surprise. The stick is in fact a poisonous vine snake doing its best to mimic a twig. It eats birds, frogs and lizards, and waits in frozen stillness for prey to be attracted to its brightly colored tongue. But Shani has discovered something even more interesting.
See here, children, look what I've managed to find for today. What is it?
Chameleon.
A chameleon. And do you see how fantastically he is disguising himself? Taking on the background so that he is hidden from any predators. But to catch his prey, he also has to disguise himself. So he takes on the shade of the environment he's sitting in. Okay, what? Would you like to hold him, Boyd? There you go. There you go. Okay. Look, what does he eat?
Bugs.
Okay.
So the chameleon is one animal that uses its ability to camouflage itself for both defense and attack.
To hide from his prey. How does he catch his prey?
With his tongue.
Hold him up, Ron. Hold it up, and there he goes. You see how he's attracted to the green? Why? Because his best camouflage is in green foliage. That's his best environment.
Let's see where he goes.
Let's see if the children can camouflage themselves as successfully as the animals we've seen. They've used finger paints, bushes, mud and dull-looking clothing. Boyd's camouflage works very well. And so does Zizi's. But Simon's jersey is too bright, and he's quickly spotted by Shani. Survival for many animals depends on their ability to camouflage themselves.
Will you leave us a world where no rhinos run? Will you leave us a world where no whales swim? Will you leave us a world that is scorched by the sun? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? Will you leave us a world where the forests are gone? Will you leave us a world where no rivers run? Will you leave us a world with 10 billion strong? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? You can make it a world where the rivers flow clean and wildlife runs free on an earth that is green. Let them know that you care. Be alive, be aware, in a world that together we share. This kind of world, what kind of world? Your kind of world, our kind of world. Bush school, Mother nature welcomes you. Join us in a world that's new. Open up your eyes. Bush School. Animals in camouflage. How they breed and feed and thrive. Learn how they survive. Discover the secrets of wildlife. Discover the way to be bush-wise. Bush School.
Man has always admired the way that birds can fly. And for hundreds of years, he has tried to do the same. Now, an aeroplane is the one way that we as humans can take to the sky. But no matter how hard we try, we will never be able to do it like the birds.
Birds can fly fast or slow, at great heights or close to the ground, in large flocks, twisting and turning like a swarm of bees, or as solitary individuals. They can dive, soar, and hover. Some birds can even fly backwards. It is truly amazing how versatile birds are in the air. But how do they do it? Just as an aeroplane is designed to fly, so birds are perfectly adapted for flight. They're naturally streamlined, they're extremely light, and they possess more than enough sheer power to thrust themselves off the ground. Our bones are solid and heavy, but a bird's bones are hollow. This makes their skeletons much lighter than they would otherwise be. But because the hollows are reinforced with little struts, birds' bones are very strong. Instead of being covered in a heavy, furry skin as most mammals are, birds are clothed in feathers, which are both strong and light. Feathers also streamline birds, enabling them to slice through the air. And as you can see, there are no external ears to interfere with the smooth passage of the air past their heads. In order to fly, birds need power and lift. Their wings are shaped like aeroplanes' wings, curved above and flat below. This causes the air passing over the top of the wing to move faster than the air passing below, and this causes the bird to lift. Birds have very powerful chest muscles which provide the power for the wings to flap up and down.
This is a peregrine falcon, and she's specially adapted for flight. She's one of the fastest flying birds. She can stoop. That means that while she's flying, she comes down to grab another bird in flight at about 250 kilometers an hour. She's particularly well adapted to flying at this incredible speed. If you look, her head is bullet-shaped so that she can go through the air. She's got very well-designed contour feathers that make the body streamlined for going through the air. She's also got a long spindle-shaped body. And if we have a look at her wing, see if she'll let us pull it out, you can see that she's got a tapered wing that allows her that fast, rapid flight. See the specially designed feathers.
Just as a car needs petrol to drive its engine, so a bird needs energy to fly. Most birds enjoy a low-calorie, high-energy diet, such as pollen, seeds, and insects. Some of the larger birds get their energy from eating fish, other birds, and mammals.
Karen, what kind of birds does the falcon catch?
She catches doves and a lot of the small birds, mainly birds that are the same size as her or quite a bit smaller. And she catches them in flight by stooping down at incredible speed, and the impact of her hitting into this bird is what enables her to catch the prey. She's also got, if you look at her feet, she's got this very long, ugly toe compared to other birds that's got an extended joint in it that lets her catch the birds in flight. So she comes down at this incredible speed and grabs the bird in flight.
Why don't birds have teeth?
The jawbone and the teeth are very heavy. So by doing away with the teeth and just having a beak and using the sharp beak to tear her food and her claws to tear the food, she doesn't need teeth, and then she's also much lighter for flying.
What are the advantages of flying? To begin with, it allows hunting birds like this black eagle to sneak up on their prey. Secondly, it enables birds to escape danger. And thirdly, it allows birds to travel great distances if necessary in their search for food. A bird uses its wings and tail to keep flying in the direction it's chosen to go. If it sweeps its wings back, it will fly faster. If it spreads its wings forward, it will rise in the air. And if it raises one wing and drops the other, it will turn. Its tail keeps the bird stable. Some birds with broad wings, like storks and vultures, save energy by gliding. They make use of hot, rising columns of air called thermals. These thermals lift the birds higher and higher in the air. When it is high enough, it will glide slowly downwards in the direction it wishes to go until it reaches another thermal and hitches another lift up into the sky. Birds that fly in formation like this are also saving energy by using the slipstreams of the birds in front of them. The albatross uses the wind very cleverly to fly just above the surface of the sea. It flies into the wind to gain lift. When it's high enough, it borrows some of the energy of the wind to gain speed. And when it gets close to the surface of the sea, it makes use of the cushion of air there to keep it airborne. When it's time for the bird to land, it swivels its wings backwards so that it begins to stall. It flaps its wings quickly to stop itself from falling out of the sky, and its feet and tail act as air brakes. All of these adaptations combine to make birds perfect flying machines.
Come on, Adam, try and fly. Flap your wings. Now, from what we've seen today, it's really quite obvious that man will never be able to fly like the birds. Physically, he's just not designed for it.
Will you leave us a world where no rhinos run? Will you leave us a world where no whales swim? Will you leave us a world that is scorched by the sun? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? Will you leave us a world where the forests are gone? Will you leave us a world where no rivers run? Will you leave us a world with 10 billion strong? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? You can make it a world where the rivers flow clean and wildlife runs free on an earth that is green. Let them know that you care. Be alive, be aware, in a world that together we share. This kind of world, what kind of world? Your kind of world, our kind of world. lost in a world that's new. Open up your eyes. Bush School. Animals in camouflage. How they breed and feed and thrive. Learn how they survive. Discover the secrets of wildlife. Discover the way to be bush-wise. Bush School.
Here we have a 5-month-old baby. Now it's interesting to note how helpless a human baby is. It'll take this baby about 12 months before it can walk. Whereas in the wild, many of the young, like the wildebeest and the giraffe, run and walk a few minutes after birth. Why do you think they can do that or have to do that, Simon?
Because they're predators.
Because of the danger of predators. Now, many different animals have different ways of raising and caring for their young. We are going to have a look at how they do it.
The biggest threat facing newborn animals in the wild is the possibility of being eaten by predators.
Isn't that fantastic?
To counter this threat, some animals, like the wildebeest, can run within minutes of being born. And of course, these newborn babies know instinctively where and how to suckle. As soon as this Thompson's gazelle is born, the mother licks it clean and then eats the afterbirth to ensure there are no smells that could attract predators in the area. Most young animals suckle from the side of the mother, but the buffalo is an exception. It suckles from behind, where it gets protection from the other buffalo in the herd. In southern Africa, wildebeest, impala and warthog all give birth at the same time of the year, and over a very short period. This means that even if predators take babies, many more of them will survive.
Do you think the babies are in it too much to shine over there, Adam? See if the babies...
Some animals are completely helpless when they're born, so their parents have to work out different ways of protecting them. Hyenas, for instance, give birth to 2 cubs in old ant bear holes in termite mounds, where they're safe from predators. When they're born, they're almost completely hairless and blind, and at first are totally dependent on their mother's milk. Leopard cubs are also helpless at birth, and so the mother keeps them hidden in any available hole or thicket. Every few days, she will move them to a new lair. This avoids the build-up of the smell of leopard cubs, which could otherwise attract the attention of predators.
I think we have some paradise flycatchers.
That's right.
Most birds hatch from their eggs, naked and helpless. Their parents protect them by making sure that their nests are well hidden. They will sometimes take great care to camouflage the nests. The adults bring food for their chicks, which grow quickly. It isn't long before they're able to fly away from danger themselves. The children have discovered a ground hornbill chick hidden in a hollow tree.
Birds, I think. Or maybe, I don't know if it's mating season.
Not all hatchlings are equally helpless. Ostriches, for instance, are able to run within a few minutes of hatching. They can go without food for the first few days of life in the wide world because they're supplied with a store of ready-to-digest food in their feet and necks. And yet, despite all these strategies, the young of many animals are soon caught and eaten, or die for other reasons. To overcome this problem, such animals give birth to many babies at once, or breed very frequently. Cheetah, for instance, give birth to as many as 5 cubs at a time. Many of them will die, but because so many are born, a few will almost certainly survive. When the cheetah are very young, their mother will carry them from place to place.
They cut by the scruff of its neck from one place, perhaps to a safer place.
Lions are the only cats that live together in large social groups. Each lioness gives birth to as many as 6 cubs at a time. But since the lioness has only 4 teats, competition for their mother's milk is strong. The lionesses in a pride usually have their cubs at around about the same time and are willing to let cubs drink the milk of another lioness. This means that while one lioness is out hunting, another will stay behind to babysit. It's obvious that lions are very affectionate towards their offspring. Larger animals that have lower rates of mortality give birth to fewer young less often. Elephants only start mating when they're 10 years old and only give birth to 1 calf at a time, about 22 months after mating. They therefore produce a calf every 4 years. Very young elephants enjoy the protection of the larger elephants of the herd. They don't suckle with their trunks, but curl their trunks backwards to allow their mouths to suckle directly from their mother's teats between her front legs. White rhinos give birth to 1 calf 18 months after mating. The giraffe mother gives birth standing up, and the poor calf's first journey in life is an unexpected 2-meter fall. The mother is very protective of her calf and will defend it with powerful kicks of her long legs. Most of the animals we've looked at are called mammals. Mammals are animals that drink from their mothers when they're young. As they get older, they switch from milk to the food that the adults of their species eat. Prey animals, like wildebeest, don't seem to show much motherly care for their young, although they do, of course, protect them. But lions or leopards, whose young are born helpless, show much more affection. They're forever licking and grooming their cubs. But of course, whether their mothers display great affection towards their young or not, all animals fight with equal determination for just one thing: survival.
So now we have seen how each animal has its own special way of looking after and caring for its young, so that the species can survive.
Will you leave us a world where no rhinos run? Will you leave us a world where no whales swim? Will you leave us a world that is scorched by the sun? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? Will you leave us a world where the forests are gone? Will you leave us a world where no rivers run? Will you leave us a world with 10 billion strong? Will you leave us a world? What kind of world? You can make it a world where the rivers flow clean and wildlife runs free on an earth that is green. Let them know that you care. Be alive, be aware, in a world that together we share. This kind of world, what kind of world? Your kind of
For your litter, please use the dustbin and not our river. There's a solution to pollution. Be responsible for your own litter. Our future is tomorrow's world. Nampak asks you, please, do not litter.